Welcome back again to Arinka's Kitchen. I have another family favorite recipe, and it's called apple strudel ALMÁS RÉTES. So what you will need for this recipe is 454 gram of packaged frozen puff pastry sheets. And so what you would do is you thaw them in your fridge overnight, and then keep them in the fridge until you start cutting them up into squares. So keep them cold until you use the actual pastry. So, and for the filling today, I've used 4 small apples, and I've grated them in the food processor, and this is what it looks like. So it should be about that consistency, and of course it's turned brown, but that's okay because you want to have that golden kind of look to it when you put it inside the pastry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the brown sugar, about half a cup of brown sugar, and have some cornstarch, but I'm going to just stir this into the apple, grated apple. So this is grated with a food processor, and just kind of stir it in there. And you can use medium apples too. You know, I've used 4, I think 6 actually, 6 small apples. And this should be enough to fill the 8 squares. So there are 2 sheets in the package of the frozen puff pastry, and so I cut them into 4 pieces each, giving you 8 of the strudel pastries. So, and that's kind of melted in there nicely and combined in there. And then I've got the cornstarch, so 1.5 cups of cornstarch into this recipe. And this will kind of thicken it, kind of like if there's juice, it'll kind of make it more, it won't be so runny. It'll be a thicker kind of filling. And then this is the juice of 1 lemon. Combine that in there, stir it in really well. And then the rind of the lemon, 1. So mix that up. Now, if it gets too watery, you can add some more apple to it. So I've got some in the fridge, so I'm just going to go over to the fridge and add a little bit more into. And I've got some left over. I sort of used the 6 small apples, but I had some apples that were kind of starting to get shriveled, so I used it for this one. I'm going to make some apple crisp out of their leftover. So I'm just going to add a little bit more there to that, just to make it a little bit thicker. Now, whatever is left over, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an apple crisp recipe from it, and I'll put that on my website. I will share that with you sometime. I'll make apple crisp out of that. Leftover, whatever's left over from this also, I can use it for my apple crisp recipe. So that seems a bit thicker, and that'll be okay. So I'll just put this to the side, and here, and I will that aside, and I'm going to cut up some I'm going to fill the center of these. So there's the apple mixture, and I'm going to put in the center. I'm going to put some the apple filling in there. I do about 2 tablespoons there. And then fill it in there. It's actually quite a nice recipe. Like so. So I like the brown color of it, you know, because it just sort of gives it a golden look to it. So I take the corners and I fold them in. I fold them together like that, and like that, and like that. Pinch the center, like so. And I'll do the same for this one. And it will open up a little bit. It will open up a slight bit. I'll do this one. Fold it in the center, like a pocket. And then it'll bake for about 25 to 30 minutes. And like so. So I'm going to do that with my other 4 pastry sheets, just kind of, and then I'll put it in the oven, 350-degree oven. And bake it for 25 to 30 minutes. I'm just going to put the timer on. For about 25 minutes. So what I'll do is I'll come back and show you what this great recipe looks like, fresh out of the oven. And then I'll continue to fill the rest of these squares, and then put them in the oven, and then they'll be ready to have with coffee as a dessert. So this can be served on your favorite dessert plate with your favorite tea or coffee. And then of course I'm going to sprinkle it with some powdered icing sugar. It's always nice to put that on the on top of the pastry. So I'll be back. Welcome back again to Arinka's Kitchen. I just took out of the oven some apple strudel, ALMÁS RÉTES, and this is a family favorite recipe of my grandmother and mother's. So what I've done is I have done a simpler version of the dough, so you can find many great recipes online for the strudel dough recipe, but I've decided that I would use a pre-packaged 454 gram of the puffed pastry recipe. And so what I did was I left it in the fridge overnight and then thawed it out, and then cut the pastry sheet into four squares. And I filled the apple filling in the center. So what I'd like to do is show you what this recipe looks like fresh out of the oven. The aroma in the kitchen is just fantastic. You can smell the apples, the lemon, and the brown sugar. So it's kind of caramelized smell to it. So what I'll do is I'll just put them on this plate, and they came out actually quite nice. Some of them actually opened up. You can actually see the filling in them. So what I do is I put some powdered icing sugar on there before I serve it. So I just do that. It just makes it look really nice. Just wanted to show you what this looks like on the plate. And like I say, the aroma in the kitchen is just fantastic. Now I had some leftover grated apple, and so what I'm going to do is make an apple crisp out of it. I will share with you a recipe of that sometime in the new year, a recipe that I make out of the grated apple, and it has a special crust to it. So I'm going to show you that in the new year. Yeah, I will be baking it tonight because whatever leftover apples I had, I'm going to have to make an apple crisp of it. But I will show you, and I will share with you my recipe, my own recipe of the apple crisp, sort of slices. So I'd just like to show you. It's a work of art. It looks we've already tasted it. My husband has tasted it, and I'm sure that he's going to have a couple more tonight, and I'll put some in the fridge and we'll have it for coffee tomorrow. So this is not going to be probably frozen. We'll just keep it in the fridge, and for coffee we usually have coffee in the afternoon, and specialty coffee, and we'll have one of these for dessert. So thank you for visiting my website, and I will be putting forward a video on bargain finds next week, the coming week, just before Christmas, and I'll be sharing with you some more of my bargain finds. So if you go onto my website, you can click onto, it's a button that says Home Decor and Bargain Finds, and you will find a video there next week. So I will be sort of sending everyone a message to let you know when that video will be upcoming next week. So until next time, have a good evening or day, and if you have any questions or comments, you can contact me at irene@irinkaskitchen.com, and my website is irinkaskitchen.com. Until next time, bon appetit, jo eet vadet.